If you're in the market to purchase a domain and you're in Australia, then this video is for you. So we're going to run through the steps of purchasing a domain, and I'm going to tell you the best place to do it. Now, there is quite a difference between providers of domains, which are sort of your higher end providers, will give you all of the tools up front. And some of the cheaper ones where you'll be paying less for the domain will require that you purchase a subscription on the back end, which is kind of dodgy if you ask me, to actually get access to all of the tools. So you're better off going with a good quality one, which might cost you $5 extra a year. So we're talking yearly here compared to a cheap option, but you've got much less hassle, really good support. You don't have to be purchasing. This video isn't just if you're purchasing a .com.au or a .au domain. You can purchase all of the main domains, so .com, .net, .store, and some other more unique ones. However, if you are targeting a country-specific domain outside of Australia, that can get a little bit more tricky. So let's just jump straight into this and we'll walk through it together. Okay, all you're going to do is come into Google and type in Ventra IP, which is an Australian company owned by Australians, operated primarily in Australia. If not all, then 90% of their servers are based in Australia. What you'll then do is come into this part here, which is always straight up, and you can search your domain. So let's go with Timmy Plumbing, and we're going to go for a .com.au domain. So what it's going to do is start to search the indexes on the internet and see if this domain is taken. If it comes up and says, great news, your domain is available, then it means you can purchase it. All you do is add it to your cart then. However, if the domain is not available, so let's say abc.com, you'll see that it will come up with an unavailability screen. It will say unavailable, and it will also give you variations that are potentially available. So these two obviously aren't, but .store is obviously a very sought after domain, so you're going to be paying crazy for that. However, for example, with the Timmy, you'll see that the price of domains for .com.au domains typically sits around $24 a year. But if you do get it on a sale, it might be $10 for the first year. So we're talking very little money to actually purchase a domain, and this is just recurring. So you can purchase it for 5 years, change the time you want to purchase it for. Also available, like I said, is the .au versions and a bunch of different ones. If you want to be really safe, then you can purchase, if you find a domain that you like, you can purchase a .com.au, .au and the .com, and that kind of gives you the trifecta of domains. However, if you're just getting started and it's not a very common domain, then just a .com.au is typically best. So once you do this, you will go through, I like to get rid of this, you don't need an additional domain. You go to the next step. Because it is an Australian specific domain, so .au in the domain, whether it's .com.au or just .au, you do need to provide an ABN in order to be able to purchase. So this is really great because it stops overseas entities just buying up all the .com.aus and the .au domains. However, if you don't have an ABN, then you won't be able to proceed past this point. That being said, if you're very urgent to get a domain and get up and running, then you can just do the .com version, which doesn't require any ABN to purchase. And then at a later date, go ahead and purchase a .com.au when you have an ABN. So from there, I'm not going to run you through the checkout. It's all pretty self-explanatory from here. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you get stuck, please leave a comment. Otherwise, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.